In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a new rainbow loom roller skate charm. So what you will need is one loom, and you want to have it set up so that the pins are in a staggered position so they are not in line with one another and they make a V shape at the end. You're going to want to have the arrows facing away from you, and you will need 40 rubber bands. So you will need 38 rubber bands for the skate and then 2 additional rubber bands for the wheels. So I've chosen black for the main body of my skate, but I've also chosen to have 4 green bands, which I'm going to put a stripe in the skate, and then I have 2 additional bands which are going to be for the wheels. So the total of all of these bands here is 40. So we're going to start by making the toe of the skate, and for this what we're going to do for all of the bands, just in the toe section, is you're going to take one single band, place it on your hook, and then wrap it around a second time so that the band is doubled, so it looks like 2 bands on your hook. And our first band placement is going to start in the center row, and it's going to go up to the top row. So I'm just going to place this doubled band right on there. Again, I'm going to take a single band and double it, and that's going to go from this center pin down to the bottom row. And now I'm doubling the next band, and that's going from this center pin straight forward. I'm going to push this down, and now I'm going to go back to this top row and put another band straight forward. Again, I'm doubling just one single band. And now I'm going to go to the bottom row, and again I'm going to put another band straight forward. And now back to the center, doubling it. I'm just going to keep moving forward to the right. And then again, I'm going to go to the top row, but this time it's going to go into the center. And now I'm going to be moving to this bottom row. I'm going to double the band, and it's going to go straight forward again. And now I want to place my cap bands. So what I'm going to do is, starting on this pin where we just left off, which is on the far right on the bottom row, I'm going to take a band, put it around my hook a second time, wrap it around again so that it is tripled, and then one more time. So there are 4 bands on here. It looks like 4 bands even though it's one single band. I'm going to just place that on that pin. And now I'm going to move to this center pin, and again I'm going to repeat that. I'm going to put a cap band that I've wrapped around my hook, so it makes 4. So it looks like 4 bands on the hook. And then I'm going to place this on that center pin. If you find that you're having difficulty getting that on with that band quadrupled, what you can do is just wrap it around 3 times to make it a little looser. And now I'm going to place another cap band that's going to start in this top row, and it's going to stretch all the way down diagonally to the bottom. This time I'm just doubling this band. Stretch it all the way down. And then I'm going to repeat that, and I'm going to cross it, make an X starting in the top row, going all the way down to the bottom. Again, I'm doubling this band. And then that is all we need to do for the toe. And then we'll move up to the boot part of the skate. So what we're going to do is just skip a row here in between. So I'll be starting on this pin here. So what I'll be doing for most of the bands in the boot part of the skate is that I'll be taking 2 bands at once and putting them on together. So I'm going to be starting on this pin, and I'm going to move the bands into the center. And now again, I'm going to be taking 2 black bands, and I'm going to be working on this top row and just moving that forward. And now I'm just going to work my way up this top row up to the length of 4 pins. For my next set of bands, I'm going to use green to make a stripe in the skate. So I'll be working on this top row and just moving that forward. And now I'm going to switch to black. Again, I'm moving forward. And then one more time, I'm using 2 more black bands and just moving straight forward. And now I'm going to go back to the left-hand side of that center row, and I'm going to work my way up the length of 4 pins again, repeating that same pattern. So I'm going to take 2 black bands and move them forward to the next pin. And now I'm going to take the 2 green bands and again move forward. And now I'll switch back to the 2 black bands. And then again, I'm going to take the 2 black bands and move up. And now for this next band that's going to go across these 2 rows, I'm going to take just 1 single band and double it. And then I'm going to place that to connect those 2 rows. And now I need to place my cap bands. So what I'm going to do is take 1 single band, put it on my hook and double it. Now if your bands are very loose, you can triple it, but since these bands I'm working with aren't super stretchy, I'm only going to double it. And I'm going to start on this second pin up on the top row, and the band is going to stretch down and diagonally into the center row. And then I'm going to do that again, double the band. I'm going to move up to the next pin, and the band is going to stretch down diagonally to that center row again. I'm going to double this band, move up to the next pin, and repeat. And finally, I'm going to take another black band and double it, move to this last pin in the top row, and stretch it down and diagonally into the center. And now I want to add another cap band on this very end pin in the center row. So I'm going to place it on my hook and double it. I'm going to wrap it around again to triple it, and then one more time so that there are 4 bands on there. I'm going to place this on the end pin. And so now I want to put the wheels on. So I'm going to go back to the toe. So for the wheel, I'm going to double this band, and I'm going to place it on this second pin up from the left side of the loom on that top row. It's just going to sit right on top. You might have to push the bands that are below it, push it down a little bit to have room. And I'm going to take my other green band for the other wheel. I'm going to wrap it around my hook so that it is doubled. And then this wheel is going to go on this very end pin in the center. Again, you want to push down on the bands that are already on that pin so you have room to place this right on the top. And now you want to turn your loom completely around so that the arrows are facing towards you. So we'll start on the band here that's on the top row closest to you. You can see on the top we have this cap band that we quadrupled so that it should look like 4 bands. You want to push back on that, grab those bottom 2 bands and pull them forward. Again, you're going to reach down through the center, push back on the top bands, grab those bottom 2 and move them out through the center and forward. And now reach down through all of these bands, grab these bottom 2 again, and this time the bands are going to move into the center. Now we're going to move to the center row here, and we have the cap band on top, then we have another set of bands that goes this way down to the bottom row, and then another set that goes in. So we're going to be working with the set that goes down and diagonally first. So reach down inside, push back on those cap bands, grab the next 2 bands that are on that pin, release them and move them down to that bottom row. And now staying on the center pin, we should have 2 more bands underneath. Grab those bottom 2 bands and pull them forward. And now on this pin, we're going to reach down, grab the bottom 2, and again move them forward. And now we'll switch to this bottom row. So you're going to reach down through all the way to the bottom. There should be 2 bands that you want at the very bottom. Get them on your hook, pull them up through, and again move them forward. And now once again, reach down through, grab those bottom 2 bands, pull them up through and into the center. And now what you want to do is take another black band, or whichever color your skate is, put your hook down through this top pin and move it out to the side. Now put this band on your hook and move it up through the center. Put that other end back on and then loop one through the other and then pull that tight. You want it to be tight because that's where all your loose ends are. So you want them to be tied off. And now we're going to take this toe off of the loom. I'm just going to carefully reach my hook down inside all the pins to release them. And now what I want to do is to attach this toe part to the boot. So we're going to come down here on the bottom row on the left hand side of the loom, and you can see we have this top row is where we had 1 band that has a cap band, and then on the bottom here we had the 2 rows that came together with a cap band. So you want to keep it in that position, and you have the wheel facing towards the bottom. So I'm going to take this cap band. It should have 4 bands because I quadrupled it, and that's going to go on this second pin up from the left side of the loom, in that bottom row. Just going to place this on. And now I'm going to take the other cap band and put it here. I can actually take my hook out because it should be secured. And I'm actually going to put my hook through these cap bands so it'll be easier to get on. Just put that around. And now I want to start looming the rest of the skate. So I'm going to be starting with this bottom pin in the center row. You can see on the top we have the wheel, and then underneath that we have the cap band, which should have been quadrupled, so that would be 4 more bands. Then under that you should have your 2 bands that run down and diagonally to the right. That's what we want to start with. So if you reach down inside and push back on that wheel and the top 4 bands that are the cap band, you want to grab the next 2 bands and pull them out through and move them down and diagonally to that bottom row. And then keeping on this same pin, you want to reach down and grab those bottom 2 bands and move them forward. And then we're just going to continue in this row, pushing back on the top bands and moving those bottom 2 bands forward. Just going to work my way up this center row. And now I'm going to move to the bottom row, and as you can see there's a lot of bands on these bottom 2 pins because we have the skate toe attached here. So I'm just going to reach down through all of these bands, push back, grab those bottom 2. It's going to be tight here. You want to pull them out and forward. If you feel like they're a little bit stuck, what you can do is take your hook, go down through the middle, and then trace around there to loosen that up. And on to the next pin. Again, you're going to be grabbing those bottom 2, and this is going to be tight. And move it up. Just going to work my way up here to the top. And now once I'm at the top here, I'm going to reach down through the center and move those 2 bottom bands into that middle pin. And you should have 1 band left, and we're going to be placing it right here to tie up the loose ends on the center pin. So you're going to take your hook, reach down through the middle and out to the side, and you're going to take this last band on your hook, pull it up through, and then get that other end on so you have both ends, and loop one through the other, and then pull it nice and tight so it makes that slip knot. And then I'm going to just take my hook and release this band right here. And now I'm going to again reach down through this middle pin, leave all of this on my hook, and then carefully release all of these bands. It's going to be tight on this toe part. And then here you have your roller skate. Again, you just want to make sure that this band at the top here, this slip knot, is nice and tight so it doesn't come apart. And then here you can see the stripe I've made on my skate. And here's the wheels. You can pull them down a little bit, tug on them to make them stick out more. And now I have this loop here at the toe. So what I'm going to do is flip to the other side, and I'm going to take a couple of the bands here on the skate, grab this loop and pull it through just to get it out of the way. And then what I'm also going to do is take a clip. I have an S clip here, and I'm going to loop it through here. And then I'm also going to just attach the other end to some bands on the back here. Just in case that would loosen up over time, we don't want it to come apart. And you want to put that clip where you can't see it on the back. And then here is your roller skate. And here is another roller skate that I've made as well, using purple for the body of the skate and then black for the wheels. And as you can see, I've made laces on this one. What I did was I just took a broken white band that I had and looped it through, crossed it to make it look like laces. So I'm not going to do it with this one since I have that green design. I think it'll be harder to see, but you can do whatever you think looks best. So that is the roller skate charm. Please feel free to leave me comments on YouTube or Facebook, or send me pictures of your designs. I would love to see what you've made. Thanks!